Hello everyone, welcome to The Green Man. Hope you're all doing good and well. So in this evening's album review, I'm reviewing the debut solo album from Annie Hamilton and her release, The Future Is Here, but it kind of feels like the past. This album came out on the 20th of May, so it's been out for about 3 weeks now, and it is 11 tracks and around 40 minutes in length. So I went into this album with no expectations at all. Obviously, this is a debut solo album, but I did some research and found out that Annie Hamilton was in a band called Little May, who got some success in Australia, as I understand. So they got into the top 40 or something. So maybe if you're in Australia and Australian, you can let me know about that and whether or not you like Little May. But since she's left that band, and this is her embarking on a solo career now. And I have to say, pretty much straight off the bat, this album, it's one of those that only feels like it comes along once in a while. It felt like it just had this special quality to it. And I'll expand a bit more on that as I go through the review. But I mean, it really did. I mean, it feels unfair to probably just give this a genre label. I mean, I saw it labeled as kind of dream pop, I think, or indie pop, but it feels so much more than that. It has this kind of really endearing kind of storytelling quality to it. It's a bit folky. Couple that with these, gorgeous, lush kind of building electronic soundscapes as well at times, and you get the end result of really quite a powerful album. As I say, it doesn't feel like it does it any justice just to call it one single genre as such. This is it's kind of authentic, and as like I say, it has this special quality to it. Now her singing is kind of quite interesting. It's very expressive. It's quite high pitched, I think, as well, but it's very expressive. Reminds me a little bit of the kind of soft way, but expressive way that Emma Ruth Rundle sings a little bit. I got that slight vibe, but not certainly not identical. But yeah, I mean, this is it's been an album that you can probably predict is going to get a pretty high score from me. But I'll save that for the end of the review. So let's go into some of the tracks now. So Providence Portal opens up the album with a catchy number with a chorus that builds a little bit each time, starting with the line "But I don't care." It becomes increasingly climactic as the track goes, and that becomes a familiar kind of formula for this album as it goes on. But it's very, very effective. Actually, for me, this track was maybe one I liked a tiny bit less, but that's not because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't think it was a really good track. It was, but compared to a lot of other tracks on this album, it just felt like actually one of the slightly less good ones. The album was kind of that kind of a caliber for me. Electric Nights had a bit of a grungy and shoegazy feel to it, but much better than your kind of average kind of moody grunge or shoegaze track in a way. It was kind of happy and upbeat as well. It reminded me a bit of Lush, I would say. Night Off's chorus brought me back to Donna Lewis's single, if you remember that from the 90s, I Love You Always Forever. I got quite a strong vibe of that with the chorus at least. It sort of reminds me of that. Another really good track on the album. Where the album, I thought, just took this really stellar turn and just became, really fantastic was with Pieces of You, a track kind of in the middle, slightly later middle of the album. Starts with a light build of piano chords and guitar notes, but it culminates into kind of big, warm, fuzzy chorus. And again, demonstrates the kind of storytelling quality I think that she has with some great lyrics in this track. And I loved the understated piano outro you got at the end of the track as well. The track Labyrinth was a really cool electro kind of track that again cleverly kind of, without you necessarily realising, something I found with this album is you don't necessarily realise the tracks are building up. They're so understated and clever in the way that they build and build and build. And Labyrinth's another example of that, where it just kind of builds into this kind of dizzying electronic euphoria. It's just wonderful stuff. All the doors inside my home are slamming into one another. Had a more melancholic feel to it. Actually for this kind of an album, it was actually quite upbeat, I thought, particularly in its first half. But as it goes on, all the doors inside my home slamming into one another was, a much more haunting kind of affair of a track. But it just felt sincere. It kind of felt beautiful, a little bit nuanced in places. And it was actually so powerful at one point, I almost felt like I was going to shed a tear. It got to that point. So that was that is for me, the sort of this kind of understated power this album has. Kind of got quite swept away with it at times. So The last track, Whirlwind, was another fantastic track. Very ethereal. Sorry, that's to say that word. And again, builds really nicely, and a lot of reverb in that track, but it makes it no less effective. In fact, it really kind of empowers the track, I think. And when she sings, there's a bit of this song when she sings. What was the bit she sang? It's where she goes, just open the blinds, and that was just a really sort of wonderful way. When she was singing that, and then the little kind of vocal touches that she did after that as well. Just fabulous way to finish off a really, really strong release for me from this artist that I didn't know to the point of listening to this album. That's I'm grateful for the YouTube kind of recommendation for this one, and I decided to click on it. What rewarded for that decision, right? Something else I want to say as well. In fact, I'll come to the score in a second, the score of the album. But something else I want to say: a lot of modern day singer-songwriters, right? They can sing brilliantly, they can sing perfectly, but some of them, they just don't feel like they're singing sincerely, or that they're, sounding anything like authentic. And what I think Annie Hamilton has, that a lot of those so-called amazing singers don't, is this sincerity, right? It's the feeling of sincerity that this album carries pretty much throughout, its entire 40-minute length. This album, if you hadn't guessed, I liked it quite a bit, and it's getting a relatively rare score. Don't give out many of these. It's a 9 out of 10 from me for this album review. Thanks very much as always for watching. Do drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you just kind of want to check out some more of my album reviews. I do lists and that kind of thing, and cover sometimes sci-fi, fantasy and horror from time to time too. Otherwise, from me, take care everybody, have great evenings, bye for now.